Welcome back to another episode of Big G's Backyard Motorcycle Restoration. I'm Glenn. It's another really bright and sunny spring day here in Maryland. I'm on my spring break, so I figured this is a good time to do some maintenance on the Vespa ET2. And, we'll be getting to the Yamaha XS650 as well over the next couple days. It's beautiful out, not quite as warm as I would like, but all the more reason to get the repairs done so that when the weather's a little warmer, we can go out and enjoy the scooter and hopefully soon enough the motorcycle. Now, over the past weekend, it was really beautiful weather, and I was able to take out the Vespa, and I learned a couple of things. In the last video with the Vespa, you saw that the phone mount wasn't really working all that well, so we're going to try a different placement for the phone mount. That will hopefully keep it more secure and make it more usable for using the display for recording video, for using the mapping and all of that, that it's not going to be moving all around, or it was actually interfering with my use of the throttle as well. The other thing I found out is that the front wheel has had a very slow leak in the tube, and was actually making it pretty unsafe to ride. I was feeling very unstable and that it was shimmying underneath me. So now that I found out it's not holding air pressure in that front tube, we're going to go ahead and get that front wheel off today, remove the tire, remove the tube, put a new tube in, get it pumped up and get it back on the motorcycle, or get it back on the scooter. So thanks for joining us, and let's get to this maintenance then. All right, to get off this front tire, we do have it on the center stand here. All I really need is a 6mm Allen key, and there's 5 of these here. Fairly simple. Make sure I don't lose flat washer that comes along with. And again, this is the first time I've done really any kind of maintenance on the wheels here. I'll probably wash them up real good while that I've got it off here, or put it back on, and it might as well. But it's a pretty simple thing. It's with the center stand. The bike's going to be held stable. I've got a piece of wood to kind of put underneath the front to kind of prop it up a little bit while I've got it on here. Now this one seems like it might be a little bit stripped. I was not the last person to do maintenance on this, but we just had to get it in there really good. This one looks like it was possibly stripped a little bit by the mechanic I had work on it and put on new tires. And supposedly new tubes last fall, but that experience definitely made me feel like I should just do as much of this myself in the future, and that's why we're here. All right, so we got all 5 off there. I'm going to tip this back, so it'll still be held on the center stand, and we should be able to prop this up. We actually may not even need that to get this tire off, or wheel off. I'm just gonna stick a piece of wood under it so that it doesn't sit directly on the ground, and that'll be fine. So we got that off. Now let's go on to the next phase and get the air out of this tire, and then we can try to get the tire off. Well, needless to say, I was not aware that the Vespa tire is actually tubeless. So I'm actually going to take it to get the tire fixed by a professional, because I don't feel that I have the expertise needed to replace a tubeless tire and get it back on safely. So I'm going to take that to get worked on. For now, I'm just taking the tape off where we had the phone mount put before. I'm going to go ahead and get all of that residue off here and get some new tape put here on the windscreen so that we can hopefully attach the phone mount there and see if that's a better spot. All right, so to be able to accommodate adding the phone mount to the windscreen holder, I moved the windscreen down a little bit to leave a little bit more room up here. And so again, we're going to wrap some tape around that to, this is a little bit thicker than the stem of the mirror, so it shouldn't take nearly as much tape, but we're going to put a generous amount of this hockey stick tape to be able to wrap around there. Luckily, it's black on black, so you aren't going to really notice it. But this should provide a nice surface to install that on. Though getting it around this windscreen could be a bit of a challenge, but we're going to do the best we can. Try to get it on here as tight as we can. This is some very sticky tape. It took alcohol and steel wool to get it off of the stem of the mirror, but that looks clean again. But it's also not going to come off either, so that's helpful. So we've got a generous amount of that stick tape around here. Gonna move this spacer over the windscreen mount. So we were working on the tire earlier, but we had to pause on that. I found that the tire was actually tubeless, which I should have done a little more research on. So I've got a tube I need to return to Amazon. But what we have now, so now that I know I have a tubeless tire, I just need to go back to Nomad Moto Co. And they're gonna, same folks who helped me put new tires on the Yamaha XS650, they're gonna just take the tire off, put a new valve stem on, and that should go on pretty quickly. Luckily, you know, they said they could get me in this week. So I ordered a valve stem, or I think I got a pair of them. And I'm going to take that over there and have them mounted up, and then I should be able to get the tire back on the Vespa. But hopefully this weekend, with the weather supposed to be a little bit nicer, it's going to be cold the next couple days, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I should be able to enjoy some nice riding weather. So I might be able to take that Vespa out for a little bit of a nice spring ride. And now with some tires that'll be safer, because that slow leak led to a drop in tire pressure that made the Vespa much less safe to ride than I would have liked. Definitely got me a little bit worried, especially after, you know, crashing it last fall, or I guess early part of winter, late fall, early winter. But, you know, I don't want to have that sort of situation again. And this one, I think the leak was brought about by that crash anyway. So glad I'm getting it figured out now before something bad happens. Okay, having a little challenge tightening this up here. I want to make sure I get it on nice and tight and get a good closing here. It's just a tight spot to work in next to this windscreen. I don't want to scratch it up either. brand new plexiglass windscreen. It's not made specifically for the Vespa. It was just sort of a universal type. You know, it doesn't fit this particular, the shape of this particular headlight as well as maybe an official Vespa one would, but at the same point, it works. It does the job. And again, I'm not trying to make this perfect. I'm trying to make it usable, trying to make it rideable, try to make it fun. And again, that's good enough for me. Might not be good enough for somebody else, and that's okay. Everybody's standards are different, and what they're looking for is different. I'm sure some folks would be appalled by some of the modifications I make, but that's okay. This feels a little more secure, and now I should be able to get this mounted up, and as long as I keep the windscreen clean, this should work okay, because it'll show through the windscreen. And that'll be fine with me for what little video that I would ever do. And again, the only thing it might obstruct slightly for me would be fuel gauge. So, which you can't really see from this angle, but I'll be able to, as long as I can tighten this up, keep it from, we'll see how it is once everything gets rattling during an actual ride, but I think that'll work well enough. I might be able to get one more turn and get that a little bit tighter, but I think for now that'll work. I'll just have the phone, which I use for my camera, pointing out this way, giving more of a straight on look straight through the windscreen. I'll just need to make sure to give it a good wipe, get the pollen off before I might want to videotape with it. So, all right, we'll come back in a couple days when we can put the new tire on, or put the tire on with the new valve stem, and then maybe take it for a ride and see if things are a little more stable. Well, it's time to put the front wheel back on the Vespa ET2. So, as you'll recall, there's just 5 rather small bolts with Allen heads on them that are used to hold the wheel on there. So we're going to, and again, we don't have to worry about the brake caliper because the rotor is completely separate from the wheel. Got a new valve stem put on by Nomad Motoco, so everything is good there. Though it did take a little while to do it because, you know, they've been busy with a lot of spring work, but also I got the wrong valve stem originally. Again, the lesson here being make sure that you are doing proper research on what is the proper items for the actual model that you have, and don't just always believe Amazon when they're like, oh, this will fit exactly, or eBay, or whoever you're getting your things from. So I'm just going to tip this back to get a little bit of clearance, and we're just going to put the bolts in one by one to hand tighten, and then we'll use the torque wrench to tighten them down a little bit more, and you know, get the proper amount of torque. Okay, so I've got the wheel on the hub and lined up with all of the where all the bolts go in. Haven't worked on the Vespa or the Yamaha as much recently, as I've been pretty busy now that school is back in from spring break. Not as much time to work on it, of course, but also end of the school year, there's a lot of very busy things going on, but also, you know, you get out of the house and there's a lot of activities going on. So, you know, I'm just going to use kind of the screwdriver type to, again, hand tighten these bolts. Then we'll switch to the torque wrench. Remember, it's always a good idea to sort of alternate which side you're putting your tightening on the bolts, kind of in a star pattern, so that you know, it doesn't sort of get crooked on the hub here. And again, this, as of yet, I don't actually have this resting on the ground, so I don't want that to affect anything either. So this is actually on there pretty tight. The only thing that's moving is the steering column. I'm going to sit that down. I'm going to take this off. I've got an adjustment here on the torque wrench. I've set this torque wrench to 16 foot-pounds, which is within the tolerance. All right. And let me follow my own advice at not going directly here. Okay. And again, once you find the proper, okay, you hear that click, that means, again, I've reached 16 foot-pounds, so I can't over tighten it. Okay. And we're going to go back and do all of these again, just to make sure that we're on there tightly. Okay. So I didn't actually do that with the first two. Okay. Make sure we're still, yep, at 16 foot-pounds. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I think that's going to be it, guys. This is another episode of Big G's Backyard Motorcycle Restoration. You want to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, and again, hit the notification bell so you'll know the next time something comes out about the Vespa. Hopefully we'll be able to have a little bit more time in the summer to do more with the appearance of the Vespa, to kind of work on appearance things like scratches here on the on this cover over the front wheel, the two new side panels that I put on late last year after some damage to the previous ones. You know, I'm going to want to try to fix scratches from the low side that I had to, you know, kind of clean up the appearance of the Vespa. But we're going to do that when we have nice warm weather, as we keep having cold weather here. So we'll do that next time, and until then, I hope everything's well with each of you, and we'll see you on the next one.